best thing for him.
I disagree. I think the upheaval would hurt more than help.
But the medical care would be right there, John. Look what happened last time Michael took ill. We barely made it. The hospital said it was touch and go for the first few hours anyway.
I know that. I just can't see the sense in uprooting the whole family. You knew that was how I felt before we came here today.
John, maybe you can tell me why you agreed to come here today.
We've been arguing constantly over whether to move or not for Michael's health. I finally agreed with Eileen that it needed to be settled with some external assistance.
Can you fill me in a little bit on his condition? I understand that it's very serious.
Michael's our oldest. He's 12 now, but less than a year ago, he was diagnosed as HIV positive.
How did that happen?
Michael's a hemophiliac. They think that it was through a blood transfusion. He's had a number of episodes through the years. It could have been any one of them.
How has Michael been with all of this?
He's holding up well.
Where have you been? Michael is not handling this at all. That's part of the reason I want to move, and you know it.
I've had to live through this just as much as you have.
You're not the one who has to sit there for hours while his blood tests are running every week. You don't have to drive the 4 hours there and the 4 hours back, once, practically twice a week.
I'm home making sure our other 2 children get fed and taken care of, and that we don't lose our home. Doesn't that count for anything?
Yes. You're right. I guess the selling doesn't solve anything.
I'm glad you see the sense in maintaining a certain level of calm. This is a very difficult situation for you. I'm sure you're both feeling very torn. Eileen, tell me why you wanted to come for this session.
I hope that I can make John see the sense in moving our family to the city.
Why did you think that would be a good decision?
We live in a small town hours from the major medical facilities. It would make me feel more secure to know they were right there in case Michael had to be taken to the hospital again.
You said that Michael needed to go in at least once a week. That must take a lot of your time.
I don't mind being with Michael. You always want to be there when your child's hurting. And some of those tests can be pretty painful. But we live so far away, and often he has to stay more than one day, particularly when he has something like one of his most recent bouts with pneumonia.
And what happens then?
I stay at a hotel.
Oh, how is that for you?
Lonely. The loneliest I've been since I've been married.
And how do you handle that?
I don't know. I think that I hide it from Michael. But when he's low, it's very hard. Sometimes he thinks like the whole world is against him. He feels like nobody cares for him anymore. That's when I have to dig into some place that I didn't even know I had and be bouncy and cheerful. I'm cracking jokes, but inside I feel the same way that he does.
I can imagine why you want your family nearby.
I miss my home. I miss the normality of it. John watches as I drive away with Michael, and all he sees is that I have a day away from my store. But I miss cooking dinner. I miss helping Stacy with her math. I miss taking Adam to Scouts.
It's not that I don't see it. I just don't think the reasons are big enough to move an entire family and home and change my place of employment.
And then there's Carol.
Who is Carol?
Carol is my best friend in the whole world. And I feel horrible resenting her.
Why do you resent Carol?
Because she's a saint. She comes over when I'm in the city and cooks the kids dinner and helps out around the home until I get back.
That sounds like a good friend.
She is. But I want to be doing those things, and it hurts me to hear the kids say how terrific she is.
They just say that to make you feel better, Eileen. Carol could never replace you.
Really?
Of course not. But Stacy and Adam know that you want things to be fine when you're away. Haven't you ever noticed that you never hear that things went badly?
Yes. Yeah. I guess you're right. Things always seem so peachy keen. I wonder why I'm not away more.
Kids are smart. They know what to omit from the day's activities.
It sounds like you have a very strong family life. I wonder if there's some way to resolve this issue of moving.
I can't move. Even if I get another job, I can't make the same salary. It's taken me a while to be the head architect for this landscape firm, Eileen, and I can't just leave it. Besides, what would you do with your antique store?
I'll sell it. I can always start again.
You're not facing reality, are you?
I face reality every day.
Your sense of reality is one person in this family. We can't change everything for what might only be a short period of time.
Don't you ever let me hear you say that again.
John, when Eileen and I originally spoke on the phone, we discussed having Michael come and join us at the session. Eileen was a little uncomfortable with that, so I suggested that she ask him to write me a letter.
What for?
Well, often in situations like this, we tend to forget the person who's the focus. I was curious to discover how Michael views all of the things that have been happening. So I asked him to tell me what he thought of his school, his friends, his life in general. Did you bring it, Eileen?
Yes. He made me seal it so that I wouldn't read it before I got here. He was very adamant that it stay closed until now.
Why don't you read it to us, John?
Me?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Dear Doctor, I was surprised to hear you wanted to know what my life was like. I thought Mom said you were a marriage counselor, so you were going to fix their problems. But I know I'm really their problem anyway. I didn't think he was taking this so personally. They try to be quiet and whisper when we're around, only it's hard to do that in old homes. Dad said we have cracks big enough for the bats to fly in. I hear them trying to decide where to live with us. Mom is very lonely when she's with me. I try not to cry and to pretend things don't hurt so she won't worry, but sometimes I can't help it. Those needles are pretty big, you know. Sometimes I think she wants to stay with me instead of going to the hotel. I can tell because she stays till the very last notice on the hospital's intercom. Sometimes the nurses even have to shoo her away. He really seems to understand how you're feeling.
Maybe more than his father does.
I guess I deserve that. You asked me to tell you what my friends in school are like. I guess school is okay. The teachers treat me funny. My science teacher, Mrs. Smith, makes me feel like a baby the way she's always fussing. And Mr. Grant acts like I'm not even in the room. He never asks me a question anymore, even when I have my hand up. I asked the other kids, but they said they didn't know why he did that.
I can't believe they do that to them. I'm going to call them in the morning.
That won't fix anything. They're so narrow-minded they wouldn't even notice what they're doing.
Then we'll move. Maybe in the city they don't have those kind of attitudes.
Do you really believe that?
No. It's just wishful thinking. I want this all to go away.
I know, me too. I wish I could tell you what my friends are like, but I don't have too many these days. I think that they are afraid I will hurt them. I told them what my parents said to say, that you can't get AIDS from talking to people or playing with them. Maybe their parents told them no. That's what Cal's parents did. Cal is my best friend ever. We made a secret Warriors pact in grade 2. We said nothing would ever split us up. Only now Cal said he can't have any more sleepovers and he can't come over after school. He said his parents made him, and I could tell he meant it because he was crying.
This is hard for you. Is there more?
Yeah. I think the only time I feel sort of normal is at the hospital. At least there everyone treats me the same as all the other kids, and no one walks away when I come near them. Even the grown-ups talk to me like I'm plain ordinary. The thing is, how come the other kids have so many cards and stuff in their rooms? Do people think AIDS is worse than cancer because only us kids with AIDS have ugly rooms? Terry, she's my friend there, has cancer, and her whole school sent stuff to her when she was sick. I can't believe he even gets this stuff at the hospital.
It's not the staff, John. He feels he's being ostracized by those people that are supposed to care for him. It makes him upset.
I guess if Mom and Dad are thinking it would be hard to leave our home, tell them for me it wouldn't matter because it doesn't feel good there anymore since I got sick. Signed, Michael.
My God, what are we going to do?
I don't know.
I'd like to make a note of the fact that you seem to be speaking as a team again. That's a very positive step.
Wait, there's a P.S. at the bottom of the letter. P.S. I know AIDS makes you die. I've seen some of my friends die, so I know it will happen one day. Please tell my parents that I just want them to stop fighting over me and to be happy wherever they are. I worry that they'll be okay with us. He's worrying about us.
Even Michael can see that we've got to work through this together.
I think you have a very sensitive young man on your hands who sees the stress that his illness is causing. He sees that there are people in the world who have difficulty accepting him as he is. And he sees that it's tearing both of you apart emotionally.
What can we do?
Let me ask you that. John, how did Michael's letter make you feel?
Angry. Helpless. I thought I could do everything. I felt surprised, too, because he never shared any of this with us.
Sometimes that's hard for people, particularly those of Michael's age, to give voice to what they're feeling. I'd like to suggest that Michael and both of you join a support group for families of children with AIDS.
I think that would help immensely.
You're still going to have to decide what to do about your living arrangements. Seems to be causing stress for both of you. Perhaps you could bring the children in on this decision, though, since it seems to affect all of you.
Here I am accusing Michael of not sharing his problems, and we've done the same thing.
Well, I guess the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree. It's our fault. Here we are feeling like that we have to hide the stress from the kids, and they can see it anyway.
I think you can see that talking to each other can be a very supportive force in helping you through this situation. I wish you luck. Please come back and see me again if you'd like to.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Charlie Sheen plays a pilot with a few loose screws in Hot Shots, a hilarious spoof of action movies, tonight at 9. And Friday night at 8:30, Arnold Schwarzenegger stars in Kindergarten Cop, major movies on CFTO TV.